Hi guys, it's Yana here. So, let me get this straight. It's the last night before exam and you haven't even started studying for it. For whatever reason, you had way too much fun, you were playing video games, something came up, you had more tests, but you just have not started for this exam. That's okay. I will teach you how to study just the night before so you will pass it or even get an A, because I used the same technique and I got all A's in all of my classes, so tune in. But I want to make sure that you know, even if you repeat all the steps that I'm going to say except the last two steps, you will not get the results you want. You will not be able to get an A or a good grade on the exam, so make sure to listen till the end. So number one, you do not have time to go through your notes and just figure out and trying to learn, not yet. The first step should be going to the study guide immediately and going through and checking what do you know, what do you not know. Start testing yourself already. Just cross in this I know, this I know, this I can explain, and go through it and try to just say it out loud, explain the material to make sure that you know, and flag or highlight anything that you don't know to make sure to go back to your notes and understand. So that is step number two. Go back to your notes and make sure the material that you do not understand that was in the study guide, you can also explain and understand it. First, try to focus on conceptualizing it and understanding it. That way you don't just memorize it for the night and for the exam, you will actually understand it for future times for the class. But if you feel like that's a no-go and you're not able to understand the material, that's okay, just memorize. Create acronyms, anything. All you need to do is pass the exam. Don't be thinking about understanding already, just for this night only, memorize it. Step number three, keep testing yourself while you're learning the information. The best tool I can think of is Quizlet or creating your own flashcards. I used to actually go on and find Quizlets some other students already created. Ask your peers if they already worked on the flashcards, and if not, just type in your professor's name and the class, and oftentimes somebody already will post the flashcards. They were super useful. You don't have to waste time on creating those Quizlets, and you can just go ahead and start quizzing yourself through that. And I find it the best technique to memorize something when you get to test yourself and memorize the new material. To me, that was my secret sauce. And keep repeating the last two steps over and over and over. Test yourself. If you don't understand the information, go back to your notes and review your notes, try to understand or memorize. Test yourself again. Just keep going back and forth as long as you can. If you can do it for 3 hours, great. If you can do it for 5 hours, that's very good. If you can do it for 8, I'll be very surprised, but do it. But also make sure to give yourself some rest. If you notice that your brain is just not understanding and not picking up the information, I know you want to push through and keep on studying. Do not. Just take a break, give yourself some food, just go take a walk, just make sure your brain relaxes. Oftentimes I find if I'm stuck on a problem and then I take a break for 10 minutes and then I come back to it, I can actually solve it. Give yourself breaks. I know we're on a deadline here, but we are not trying to self-sabotage by studying too much. We're trying to understand and be able to do well on the exam. Now, these are the tips that if you do not do, you will not be able to do good. You will be able to perhaps pass, but you will not be getting an B or an A. So the fourth step is to get a good night's sleep right before the exam. We've heard a lot, and I'm sure you've experienced it too. If you don't let yourself and your brain rest, and while it's resting and sleeping, it's actually doing the work for you of processing all of that information and categorizing it and memorizing it. So you're doing the work without you needing to be awake and actually studying. But that is important, because if your brain doesn't do it, you will not be able to recall it during an exam. I'm sure you've experienced it. If your brain is a mush, you don't understand anything. Even if you know it, even if you know you've seen it the night before, you will not be able to remember it. So go ahead and get a good night's sleep, and I promise you it will help you way more if you just pull an all-nighter, because that will sabotage you. And step number 5 that you must do is review the information in the morning right after you wake up and right before the exam. Usually I say the more times you expose yourself to the material, the better you memorize and the better you remember it. But in this case, you just need to expose yourself one more time after you slept. Because you reviewed the information, you memorized it, you understood it, your brain processed everything while you were sleeping. Now you just need to bring it back to memory. Go through the same flashcards, keep testing yourself, get yourself in that mode of remembering and answering questions. And one thing I used to do, since you might not have had enough time to understand or memorize something and you can feel some information just escaping you, memorize it as quickly as you can right before the exam. Go in, get those blank sheets of paper that they usually give out for you, or even on the back of the exam, just get some space. The teacher sees that you're not cheating. Save that 5 times. I just did. It's not easy. But you see, the professor sees that you're not cheating, and just quickly write that down as soon as you can so it's out of your mind. You don't have to worry about keeping it in your brain, but you have that information somewhere if you need to refer back to it, if you have those questions, and you know it's already as solid as possibly could because you wrote it down as soon as possible. So those are the tips I always used when I didn't have time to study for exams and I just had 1 or 2 nights. So see how it works for you and come back and write down a comment if it works or if it doesn't, or if you use something else that I didn't mention and it worked, for everybody else to see, because we're trying to help each other here as well. And if you feel like this information has helped you in any way, go ahead and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in another video.